Good afternoon, everybody. This is Councilman Britt Moore calling to order our Finance Committee meeting for today, Thursday, August 17th. Joined here at City Hall with our staff and Councilwoman Monica Peters and Councilman Victor Jones. And we will begin and call the first item on the roll here. It's 2023-369. The first several will be handled by Assistant Manager Eric Almedo, and several things to consider concerning ARPA funding. So let's start with 2023-369, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll kind of lump all four of these items together because they're so interrelated. So what we're asking is to approve a resolution of an interlocal agreement with Guilford County for ARPA funding. This is funding that is flowing through the city on behalf of three organizations within the city. The commissioners in September of 2022 approved a total of $5.5 million to flow through to three High Point agencies, one DUP in the amount of $3 million, the YMCA of High Point for $500,000, and the Hayden Harmon Foundation for $2 million. So what this interlocal agreement, this is the interlocal agreement with the city, and then there are three separate contracts between the city and these three agencies, which is spelling out how they need to spend these monies and report. There's no budget impact to the city directly, and staff will recommend and ask that City Council approve the resolution of this interlocal agreement and the three contracts. There's no action necessarily to be taken tonight because they will be on the general agenda for Monday night, because there are a council member is on the board of two of these, or I'm sorry, on the board of one of these agencies. So the interlocal and the one of the contracts would have to be pulled separately anyway. Right. So we'll just consider all four of these items separately on the general agenda for Monday night.
Which council member is on which board?
Councilmember Jefferson is on the board of the YMCA, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. So just for notice, that takes care of the discussion for items 2023-369, -361, -362, and 363. Is that correct? Okay. Then we will look for that on Monday evening's agenda. Next item is 2023-375. The next few are going to come from Public Service Director Robbie Stone.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This item is for the sole source on a maintenance contract for the metals analysis instrumentation by Perkin Elmer. This is used by our Laboratory Services Division for metals analysis on our wastewater and water samples. The funding is currently available in this budget year for this. The Public Service is recommending that Perkin Elmer be approved as a sole source vendor to perform this annual manufacturer's maintenance requirements for this metals analysis instrumentation in the amount of $32,808.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-375. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item, 2023-376. Robbie?
This is for the purchase of a 10x8 diesel pump with a vacuum-assisted priming system for the Water and Sewer Mains divisions. This will be used when we have a need for bypass pumping that can be utilized during our maintenance repairs and or during emergency situations. And it's also set up so it can be used at some of our deeper and larger sewer lift stations. Public Services Department is purchasing this through the Sourcewell base joint contract. We do have funds available in this current operating budget, and we're requesting that Council approve the purchase of this pump and connections from United Rentals under the Sourcewell base joint purchasing contract in the amount of $191,739.78.
How many of these does the city keep in the arsenal?
We have about two 8-inch pumps and one 6-inch pump. But they do not pump to the depths that this one will pump. Some of our lift stations have really deep wells, and so if something happens to one of those or we have to do maintenance on those, then we have to rent one. Okay. they have been really difficult to find for rental over the past few years. And so we just thought it'd be a great idea to have this on hand for our typical routine maintenance and if an emergency occurs.
Any other comments or questions? And I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-376.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-377.
So this is, purpose of this for a sole source request for pavement technology to apply Reclamite asphalt rejuvenator to approximately just under 250,000 square yards of roadway. Reclamite is a product that is in lieu of asphalt resurfacing, but it basically adds back in the oils into the asphalt pavement because over time the sun bakes those oils out and it causes the asphalt to get brittle and start crumbling apart. So this is extending the asphalt, gives it an extension of life without the expense of typical resurfacing. So this is something that we have a product that's been in use for a long time. We've not been using it in High Point, but we've got some really good data and talked to other cities all across the U.S. that have used it and had some really good results with it. We are looking to, funding is currently available for this item. And so the Public Services is recommending approval of the sole source request and the appropriate city official and employee be authorized to execute all necessary documents to award the project to Pavement Technology, Inc. in the amount of $294,002.90.
And this is for 1 year or for a certain
This is
amount
just for
of
this year.
footage?
This is just for this year, the amount just for this year. It is applied on roads that are newer roads. I say roads that's 3, 4, 5 years old. So some folks may look at it and say, well, why aren't we putting it on these? But it extends that life of those roads by multiple years. And so this is a new product that we're using here for 1 year.
And, go ahead,
I
Mike.
was going to say, it's actually less effective on older roads than it
Yes,
is newer roads.
that's correct,
So
because
it would be wasted.
it would be wasted on
to not
older
put it
roads.
on
Yes,
That we corrected.
that's correct.
And you will have I know you've done your front-end work, but you'll do a review at the end of the year, and future councils may expect to see this as a recurring
Correct.
request.
Correct.
Anything else?
I have a question. So, and I had not noticed this until somebody actually complained about it, and then I started realizing it. So there's several areas around High Point and some roads where grass is coming through. Is that common, that grass comes through?
So as asphalt ages and it does crack, then you will see in areas where there are weeds and grass and stuff growing through those areas. So unfortunately, that is common. It's not just here in High Point, but it's common wherever the asphalt's cracked. And so that's why this product here, we're excited about this product. This will help us to maintain that life of that pavement longer and should help reduce that cracking, should help, prolong that pavement life cycle.
Yay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Get some from my driveway. Anything else? I'll make a motion to approve item 2023-377.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Robbie's last item, it looks like, is 2023-378.
This is for the purchase of 10 Kemanir gearboxes that are used at our East Side wastewater treatment plant. These gearboxes are on the part of our AAA tanks at the East Side that perform the biological nutrient removal at the Wayside water treatment plant. There are a total of 53 gearboxes in this along this AAA tanks, and we're looking to purchase 10 of those, as previously mentioned. Many of these are exceeding their useful life and are failing due to normal wear and tear, and these were put in back in the early 2000 upgrade. So there are funds available for this in our current budget. Public Services is recommending that National Oil Well Varco be approved as a sole source vendor for the purchase of the refurbished Kemanir gearboxes in the amount of $237,710.
Comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-379.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Robbie. Next couple of items, we'll hear from Kevin Rogers, our Fleet Director. The first one being item 2023-380.
Thank you, sir.
The City of High Point purchasing policies and procedures manual requires that fleet vehicles and other equipment be sold via online auction be reported to City Council on an annual basis. A listing of items sold with descriptions and sale amounts is included with this item. The sale of the equipment generated $961,718.04 in the 2022-23 budget year, and proceeds from the City of High Point previous sales amount are also listed here too. Just wanted to present this.
Got it. Let's see. Anybody got any questions on that? Need approval on that? Is that just presentation?
It's a presentation.
Okay. Then we'll go to item, well, I've got it turned around here. We're on 380, the purchase of the Ford truck.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I jumped ahead of myself with that other number, so make sure that's corrected. Thank you very much. So let's hear about item 2023-380.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The electric department is currently using a 2013 Ford F-550 with an Altec body. Bucket truck has over 100,000 miles and very high usage on the bucket assembly. The new 2024 Ford F-550 is demonstrated and will meet their needs. The price of $177,913 is for the truck, training, extended warranty, and delivery. Estimated delivery is 360 days. Funds are available in the 23-24 budget. Fleet Services Department recommends purchasing the truck with body from Piedmont Truck Center. And the recommendations also would include declaring the old truck as surplus and disposing through the online auction process.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-380.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-381.
Yes, sir. The Parks Department needs to replace one 2008 Chevrolet Express 15-passenger van, and they also had approval this year to purchase 2 additional vans to meet their needs. Price of $52,941.50 is for the vehicle and equipment package with DMV fees of $1588.25. Total cost for 3 is $163,589.25. Estimated delivery is 365 days. Funds are available in the 23-24 budget. Fleet Services Department recommends purchasing the 3 vans from Piedmont Truck Center in the amount of $163,589.25.
So if you purchase them new in 2023 and they deliver them in 2024, what model do you get?
These will be 2024s
Oh,
models,
okay.
yes.
All right, I just want to make sure.
We have a problem with that right now with some of the extended times.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-381. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you,
Thanks, sir.
Kevin. Next, we're going to hear from Parks and concerning Parks and Recreation, but it's not Lee Tillery.
It is not. No.
It is not. This young gentleman's going to come introduce himself and talk about item 2023-382.
That's correct. I am Colton Marble. I am the Special Facilities Manager for Parks and Recreation, standing in for Lee Tillery today. The first item is I have for your consideration approval of a 3-year lease for holiday lights and large-scale displays, holiday displays for High Point City Lake Park. This is a 3-year lease with Winterland Incorporated. The funds for year 1 are already in the budget, and it is $33,140 annually for a total amount of $99,420. And we recommend approval of this lease with Winterland Incorporated.
And just for, is it 420 or 240?
It is $420. I know there was a little bit of a,
Okay.
I think they had to adjust the original memo there, but it is $99,420. Happy to take any questions.
Anybody got questions? I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-382.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-383. Colton?
Item number 2 is for your consideration as a sole source purchase with Aqua Management Partners, and this is for AccuTab and AccuRite erosion tablets. We already have these feeder systems in place at High Point City Lake Park. This is for the tablets that will go into those systems. and this is for the sole source for those tablets, and this will get us through the entire fiscal year. So that will end this current pool season and then start next pool season. So this is just $40,000. That amount will get us through the entire fiscal year. And I ask for the approval of that sole source.
Comments, questions? Hearing
I
none,
have a comment.
Okay.
I drove out there, I don't know what day it was, but it was kind of like an overcast day, so I didn't expect it to be so busy.
Yeah.
And I drove through, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was so amazing. I mean, the pools were all totally filled.
I believe it.
All the shelters were filled. It was a really great thing to see, so thank you for all your hard work. I'm sure these tablets are very needed.
Yeah, they are, and just because to your point there, year-to-date attendance at City Lake Pool, 44,690 people have attended that pool.
Wow.
So just under 45,000. As a point of reference for fiscal year 18, we've had a few years where we didn't have that pool open. Just over 27,000 in fiscal year 18, and we're just under 45,000 for this pool season. So a little bit of a difference. So.
Very good. I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-383.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, sir. You do a lot better than Lee does.
I will not tell him you said that, but thank you.
I will.
Next item is 2023-389. It comes from Customer Service Director Jeremy Coble, and he looks like he's got several things to talk to us about today.
Thank you. I do have several items. All these items are directly related to each other involving the AMI program that we're initiating, so I just wanted to throw that out there that all these will be tied into one another. The first one is the meter data management system hardware. So what does that mean in layman's terms? It's going to be the server that stores the data. We're going to have millions of data points every day that come in that we're going to use to analyze and help the customer's life better, that I'll talk about in some later items, along with the utility. This hardware is going to provide us the storage capacity not only today, but to grow into for the next 5 years. Our staff are already very familiar with these products and the systems that work within those. They will provide us all the security that we need around data privacy. One important fact to bring in is we are housing this data in-house for a couple reasons, in case that was a question. One of which is with the expertise of our IT staff, we can house data cheaper than we can in the cloud. Another big benefit is no matter what happens in the outside world, the data that we have from our utility system will always be in-house, and we'll have access to it at any point in time. Excuse me. So staff recommends the purchase of the MDMS hardware from 5S Technologies for $551,351.75 under the North Carolina Purchasing Contract 0186.
Any comments? Your anticipation of how long this hardware will last?
6 years.
6 years. Anything else? I'm hearing none. I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-389.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-392.
This is the meter data management system that was referenced in the previous item. This is the brains of the operation. All the data points coming in, this tool will be able to analyze that. It will be able to tell many of our utility partners much more information about the water and or electrical grid to make them make better business decisions. It will automate some of our processes, removing manual labor out of it. Some of the things that will be great for customers are leak detection. So this item will have leak detections where we will be able to notify customers immediately via text message, email, the delivery of their choice if they have consumption. This is a common issue that we find here at the city. Other cities that have implemented this have saw major savings in their water departments. We're not having to do refunds for sewer charges based on concealed leaks. Customers are saving money because they're generally notified within 3 to 5 days of a leak versus every 30. So this has paid a lot of dividends in other utilities. Staff recommends the purchase and implementation of under Harris Utilities, SmartWorks Meter Data Management System for $994,869 with an annual reoccurring cost of $103,542.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-392.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-390.
So this is, our current consultant for AMI is eSource, and we would like to contract with them to procure and manage our meter installation vendor. So what is our meter installation vendor? What does that mean? We'll have approximately 40,000 electric meters that will be changed out on a schedule once these IT implementations are complete in approximately 10 to 12 months. That outside vendor will come in, they will connect with our IT systems temporarily, they'll put in meters, they'll let us know when meters installed. This company will not only write the RFP, help us go through the RFP, but manage those companies once they're in. They are the subject matter experts and have done this many times. Staff recommends that eSource become our improved procurement service contractor for $144,960.
What's the estimated time to replace the 40,000 meters?
It will somewhat depend on our meter installation vendor. That is an unknown. If we're looking at other cities, generally 12 to 16 months. It may be quicker, but that's what some others have done.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-390.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2023-391.
This is the item that I am probably most excited about and will be the public-facing piece of the AMI program. This is our Customer Engagement Portal, or CEP. It's powered by SilverPlays, which is also part of the Harris Utilities. This gives customers real-time usage information for water and electricity. They can look at their historical usage. They will make projections on what their potential bill would be later on. So a lot of cost savings for our customers there. It will allow customers to interact with the city via online. They can put in online requests such as, I want to transfer my service from point A to point B. Right now, they have to either come in or call a CSR. They would be able to do that through their login, through their portal. Our current payment methodology, Paymentus, has a relationship with this portal, and it will seamlessly integrate within it, and the customer will be able to pay at any point in time. It has a lot of education tools, so customers can learn how they can lower their bills. And one of the things I'm most excited about is something that the entire city can utilize is this communication piece. So this tool allowed us to give broadcast messages across the city. We could do geographic messages for an individual location all the way up to neighborhoods, streets, et cetera. So not only from the utility perspective, being able to notify our customers that their electricity may have been out due to a storm and it's restored as we all experienced here this week, they would be able to see those things and interact, and just very excited about this. Staff recommends the purchase of the Customer Engagement Portal from Harris Utilities for $181,125 with an annual recurring cost of $90,000. For the first year, that has been prorated to $22,500.
There are no comments or questions. I'll make a motion to approve item 2023-393. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Have I missed something, Jeremy?
I believe I have one more, sir. I hope.
What number?
Yeah, I think,
Huh?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I think you.
Yeah, the other one's 391.
Okay.
393 is 391.
All right. We'll make sure you.
My apologies if I got out of order. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
You're doing a great job. It's me that had the problem. Next item is 2023-393.
So as some of you may know, Kayenta is our CIS, or our Customer Information System, our billing system, what we use to bill our customers both digitally and on paper. We've had this system since 2013. They're also part of the Harris utility family, which many of these other products are associated with, to integrate our billing system with all the products we talked about today. And so all those can work simultaneously and talk with one another. Staff is recommended that Harris Utilities be approved for implementation services for the AMI project in the amount of $366,630.
Anybody got a comment or question before I do this one again?
No, just really quick.
Yes, sir.
Because we source all this from Harris, that gives us a little bit of bargaining power on.
It did, yes, sir. Yeah, these integration costs, for example, for other utilities but that are not Harris products are almost double.
Yeah. I thought so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve item 2023-393.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Tyler Barrier, our Electric Utilities Director, concerning item 2023-394.
Good afternoon. The item I have today is the consideration of the sale of 150 megawatts of excess generation capacity between Agency 1 and Central Electric Power Cooperative. Council was previously briefed on this. This would be the approval to consent to the transactions, approve the amendment to the purchase power agreement, and execute the resolution ordinance thereafter. As we previously stated, all 19 participating cities have to approve, and this would be High Point's first step to approval.
Comments or questions on this item?
I have a question and a comment. The comment is, great job on restoring power after the storm.
Fantastic.
Great job. Everyone did a really great job.
Thank you.
And then I did have just a few little problems, like I think with like the Burton substation. Would this help that at all? Anything with this contract? Or it not affected at all? Okay, all right. No. But great job on restoring power. I think y'all did an excellent job.
Thank you. I'll get that to the people who deserve that praise. I certainly don't, but they do.
Can we make a motion to move this forward to council without a favorable recommendation so that it can be discussed publicly Monday?
I don't know that I have a problem with that, but we've been briefed on it, and I think that was a public setting when Latimer spoke, was it not? So, there's...
It can definitely go forward and just be on the general agenda on Monday. It just wouldn't be part of the consent.
I just think it would be good to for a bigger publicly viewed meeting for the public to be able to hear any possible discussion on it. It's a big deal.
But this isn't the sale of electricities, is it?
It's a step in the process.
It's the 150 megawatts of
Okay.
capacity.
It's that 18% of excess capacity. We talked about it about 6 months ago, and then the last meeting, Randy and some others came in and spoke. Roy Jones, our Electricity CEO, and Tim Tunis, the Chief Financial Officer, presented last meeting on that proposed sale.
I'm good with that, Victor. If you want to make a motion in that.
That would just be worded, motion to move forward to the general agenda.
It needs to be on the general agenda.
Okay, there's a motion for this item 2023-394 to be moved out of anything on the consent agenda to the general agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Tyler, thank you.
Yep.
Next item is 2023-395 concerning economic development, and Assistant Manager Eric Almeida will be handling this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Council. City Council is asked to consider a request from Pioneer Square Brands for authorization of a performance-based incentive for a project at 721 Old Thomasville Road and 1515 West Green Drive in High Point in the amount of $54,752. Pioneer Square Brands purchased Vault LLC back in February, and together they're intending to potentially locate their corporate headquarters at the 1515 West Green location and have a warehouse location at 721 Old Thomasville Road. So this would be for, this incentive would be for their proposed $1.3 million investment in those properties and creation of 30 new jobs, paying an average wage of $61,700. Company representatives will be here for the public hearing on Monday, and no actions needed. It's just for information.
Okay. Thank you for that, Eric. We will look forward to the full presentation on Monday night. Next item is 2023-396. We're going to hear from Angela Kirkwood, our Human Resource Director.
Good afternoon. The HR department, we're responsible for the operation of our on-site employee health clinic. And what we'd like to do is expand the employee health clinic services to include primary and acute care services on-site, primarily to improve the well-being of our employees and to give them that direct access to care at work. The HR department, with the assistance of the purchasing division, we solicited proposals for healthcare with various healthcare agencies to expand the scope of services at the clinic for the primary and acute care services. And once we sent out the RFP, it went to 3 direct providers. In addition, it was placed on the city's website and the state's website. And once that was out there and the bid process closed, there was a selection committee that was set up that consisted of senior staff from my larger departments, and we evaluated a total of 6 proposals. And once we concluded that process, this is where this recommendation comes in. And my budget, as far as budget impact, there are funds that are included in the current budget for this service, and the estimated cost for this service is a total of $322,000, $322,977. And the recommendation is for staff recommends City Council to approve the selection of Atrium Health, Wake Forest Baptist, as the clinic service provider and authorize the appropriate city representative to execute all necessary documents.
Any comments?
Angela, how many city employees do you think would actually benefit from this, from receiving primary care here?
The estimated percentage, based on the conversations that we had with the vendors that competed in this process, they said on average you get 60% that first year, and then the numbers continue to go up in subsequent years.
Is there a backside metric by which to measure the success, say after a year?
Yes, they will provide quarterly reports to show the utilization, the various different areas, the wellness initiatives that people are participating in, and the actual number of employees that are going to the clinic. And they will provide us with quarterly meetings to initially start out, and then come up with different marketing initiatives to ensure that the word is out there and employees are understanding the advantages. And then there's also some marketing that they will go to the different departments and, set up shop, whether it's biometric screenings or to have those on-site coaching sessions, and try and be as creative as possible to improve the participation of our employees.
And it seems logical, of course, sometimes people don't think I'm very logical, but it seems like that they would save the employees time too.
Yes.
And
It's a huge benefit in terms of saving employees time. It saves them money because there is no cost to the employees that, with the exception of those on an HSA, and I have like 87 employees that have an HSA set up. And based on IRS regulations, they can't get the services for free, but the conversation with the broker is most of the clients that have these on-site facilities, the we'll probably set up recommend a fee of $5 for that group of 87. But all other employees that are on my health insurance that pay a premium, there's no cost to them when they show up at the clinic with this expanded service.
And I think in such a competitive marketplace for municipal employees, I think that adds a very extra benefit and perk. So I think it's great. Thank you, Angela.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And even metrics like, absenteeism, sick days, minor injuries, things that can be taken care of on site, get people back to work faster. All these things, you will see improvement because of the direct nature of having healthcare on site, time and money.
Sounds good. Look forward to hearing how it works. Then I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-396.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Angela. Next item is from Chief of Fire Tommy Reed, number 2023-400. Chief.
Yes, sir. So we're here to request replacement of a 2008 Pierce pumper. As you know, like everything else, they're hard to get. We've got several trucks on order. This truck would be slated to be here in about a year and a half, and so we're just trying to keep it in line. But the standards and the council approved several years back a 15-year replacement plan, and so we're still trying to keep track of that plan and replacement trucks and so forth. But so this truck will actually replace a truck that is right now 20-some years old, and then we'll move the frontline one to a reserve status. But costs, like everything else, continues to go up.
Yeah.
And but availability is very hard. So we searched diligently to get a pretty good deal on this one, as well as a timely delivery. So in order to get our placeholder and get this truck, we're requesting that council approve I think it's $919,593. So just for your reference, this same truck in 2018 cost $588,000.
You had to say that, didn't you?
Well, I mean, it's reality. Me and the manager talk about it a lot.
I understand inflation's got a hold. Any comment? So the one it replaces will go into reserves?
Yes, and then we'll take a
Surplus
reserve truck
something
out of the fleet, and Kevin will sell it for scrap.
I understand. Any comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion for approval of item 2023-400.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Chief. The last item I'm showing today is item 2023-399. This is, there'll be no action on this. This is a presentation concerning science and design, and very much hope that I get the pronunciation right of Jane Dagme.
Yep.
All right. Managing Director of High Point Design.
Okay.
Hey, Jane.
Hi. Thank you for inviting us to bring design into City Hall today. I hope that between HPXD's mission, High Point by Design's mission, and your goals, we get to come here more often. Today, I'm here on behalf of Science and Design and the innovative ideas that this organization is bringing to High Point. Ideas that resonate with the three audiences that we serve at HPXD: the design trade, students and educators, and our community at large. Before I go in a little bit more, I just want to talk about Mike Peterson, who will be up next, because we have a long-standing relationship. Mike is the founder of Science and Design. Our work history goes back to the magazine business. We reconnected in South Florida, and that was the first time he brought Science and Design to my attention. I have watched his commitment to this program grow, and it's no wonder that he felt compelled to move to High Point, where he could make this happen. The information that Science and Design is sharing is at once fundamental and mind-blowing. Fundamental because the need to situate ourselves in aesthetically pleasing surroundings within view of nature seems obvious. But how science and design are proving this need is the part that truly elevates design to another level, which is a health resource. Wellness has been at the forefront of the consumer mindset for a while now, and converging wellness with art and design and science puts a new onus on creatives and builders of things like cities. HPXD wants to utilize the Science and Design exhibit and its teachings to educate and inspire. For designers, we want to make sure that they see their new worth. We want to expose educators and students to a new way of looking at design, and for the community as it is growing and new buildings and sites are being considered, we hope with the knowledge gleaned from the exhibit and special events held at the Hall of Fame, these can be used to make our city think as they build and to be intentional with the design of public spaces and schools to not only look more pleasing, but to let science and design be a launch point for improving health in our community through design. So, Mike.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you, committee, very much. I thought I would start this little talk with just a little bit of background on just what the science looks like. I had some other slides here. They went away. Okay. The science and the strategic vision, essentially, for what we're doing is to help the interior design, the home furnishings industry in particular, understand its ability to improve health. Neuroscience, the study of neuroaesthetics, essentially has proven now, because of scanning and biomapping and those technologies, that when we see something of beauty that we perceive to be beauty, we do lower our heart rate. We do get a special burst of serotonin. And so if you take the equation that beauty improves health, and we know that home furnishings and the interior designer create beauty, then essentially home furnishings and interior design improve health. And we're sitting in a city that is devoted to home furnishings and is driving to be a center for art and design. And I might want to add the word science to a center for science, art, and design. The city has some tough challenges competing with the New Yorks and the Miamis and the LAs in terms of design. What this city has as an opportunity is to include the word science and create a niche for itself and a unique selling proposition. This is essentially what some of the bigger companies are doing right now. This is Amazon. Amazon has nest-like conference rooms hanging from the ceilings. They also have a headquarters with 390 different species of plant life. This is Microsoft. Their conference rooms are now being built in treetops. The question is, what do these industry leaders who have millions of dollars to spend on studying this, what science do they know that motivate them to do this? And that's exactly what science and design is talking about. I also want to point out that this image that you're looking at right now is an elementary school that was just recently built to replace a school that had to be torn down in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. It is 100% based on neuroaesthetics, healing principles. The mandate to the architects was to create a space that heals. And what you see is heavy dose of color contrast, natural sunlight, and all of the elements that are essential for improving the health of the child. What we're proposing here and what we're asking for is some help to build an exhibit that reflects these very basic neuroaesthetic principles. And we want to do it at the Hall of Fame. We want to have it launched in October, in time for October market, and it will be in place for a 6-month period. Now, this is just the kind of image that you will see in the exhibit that we're preparing. And essentially, to pull all of this together, we're talking about a totally immersive and highly interactive experience at the Hall of Fame. We plan to bring in specialists from the technology world. One company is called Visual Attention Software that actually is able to predict where the first glance image, where the eyes will go when first seeing an image. We have another technology company that's coming in that will be able to measure the emotional reactions through facial analysis. So when you see something of beauty, they'll be able to measure what kind of emotion you're experiencing at that particular moment, both of which are principles that can guide the design and home furnishings industry in the years ahead. We're looking at doing this, obviously, at the Home Furnishings Hall of Fame. What we like, and I've worked with Jane on this, already. What we like is that the exhibit will be in place to work with local students and any visiting groups that may want to have business and events at the Hall of Fame, and so that the city can be considered as somewhat of a new face in the world of science and design. We're talking about many educational seminars. We're talking about it being up for 6 months. The exhibit is currently being designed by Trio Design, who is an award-winning firm out of Denver, Colorado. I've known them for 10 years and worked with them in my past life. They are top-shelf pros, and they are anticipating to create a museum and art gallery type of experience. We expect this to cost in the $30,000 range, and we're asking for your support. Any questions?
So, I sit on the Visit High Point board, and we gave you 17,000 towards something. Is this all looped with the same project, or is it separate?
Excellent question. You helped us with the Design, Art, and Science Symposium, which will be held at Congdon Yards from October 12th through October 14th. And that's what that was for. This is a separate request because it's being run through the Hall of Fame, and the symposium lasts for 3 days. This is a 6-month project. It's a sister project, but it's totally different.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this concept. I actually was in one of the Volvo Trucks manufacturing centers, and they had a green space.
Yep.
And water features in the middle of their manufacturing plant.
Yep.
And so this concept is Europeans. They have
Very European.
Very European concept.
And is very prevalent in the Far East as well. The word biophilia is very popular in the Far East. Yeah. Biophilia being nature-based design.
Well, I must have missed something, because I thought HPU had been doing this for several years, and their incorporation of water and buildings and things like that. I appreciate the commitment. I'm excited about what High Point Design is doing. Is there anybody else here that has any comments or would like to speak on this issue at this time? Please.
Yes, I'm a manufacturer.
You mind coming up, Mark? And just introduce yourself for the record.
I'm Mark Phillips with Phillips Collection, and I'm an early and enthusiastic supporter of this science. We all know that beautiful things are nice, but now we have the proof that it actually helps extend life and the quality of life. And it's the empirical aspect that allows High Point to take the lead in its position versus the competing cities that you mentioned with design centers, New York and Los Angeles. Mike has compelling data that explains the transition as we have evolved. Our environment has evolved a lot faster than our DNA, and he's tuning in with the recognition of these principles to the way that the body reacts, the things that we no longer pay attention to, the ways that we're allowed to have all of our energy working towards enriching us rather than attending to threats or acquisition or unfamiliarity. The real bonus of High Point taking the lead in this is you can be the founding city supporting this new concept, which every time we present this, people buy into it. Of course, beautiful things help you have a better quality life and live longer. Isn't this great? But the scientists that Mike has spoken with and that Jane has helped bring together provide studies as to where the eye goes, why this space works and why others don't, and the benefits to the whole existence that this can do. It's a branding opportunity for High Point to take the lead. High Point University, who we've spoken to, has based everything on having a beautiful environment. So to your point, you're absolutely right, and the music and the water and everything, but they've never proven it. We're going to be privileged to be working with a group of neuroscientists and medical professionals that substantiate these beautiful, talented products that our whole city is producing for decades. So it's a perfect marriage. It's a chance to grab the lead and everything, and it's really a burnishing of reputation for what I think is a very affordable price.
So how does that manifest itself, Mark, in your experience we're taking the lead in getting a final product that'll always evolve, I'm sure, but that will be in the design of our schools and the design of our hospitals and the design just everywhere?
We're going to be evolving the data. Where it goes is the second point, and maybe Mike has something to say on that, but I just want to promote the fact that the science is brewing here, and who else but High Point would think that this is a great combination of design and science and beauty all together. It's just such a natural combination. Let's get a lot of mileage out of this. We can promote that we were the first city to get behind the concept that we can make you live longer by designing more beautifully, intentionally.
Okay.
And as it relates to the health industry, hospitals all over the world right now are being built based on 100% biophilic design. And just so that you know, biophilic means love of nature. You have hospitals throughout Singapore. The standard for hospital design right now is called the Kutek Puat Hospital in Singapore. It is 100% based on biophilic principles. You have Maggie Center at Leeds, United Kingdom right now, that is 100% biophilic. It's a cancer study hospital. And so when you mention hospitals, yes, hospitals in High Point and in North Carolina ultimately will be designed based on principles that improve health, not just concrete blocks. And this is actually where biophilia started. It's where the whole subject of neuroaesthetics started. So the fact that it's rooted in medicine and improved health, and that we can bring that now to the home furnishings capital of North America, because home furnishings improve health. When home furnishings create beauty, home furnishings improve health. It is documented. It is now absolute. And that's what we want to bring to the exhibit at the Hall of Fame.
If I can make a comment.
Sure.
The one thing that I really love about it is, there's the whole divide between the residential and commercial. And High Point's not really, we're well known for residential, not as much commercial.
We used to make a lot of contract too. We used to make a lot of contract, but we showed it in, show it in Chicago, yeah.
Some huge ones, Doran, Davis Furniture,
I know.
But this brings that commercial designer of municipalities and hospitals and schools from around the country
Okay.
come to the High Point market. So I think it can really expand our reach and hit another segment of the market.
Well, the concept sounds solid. I just, I want a little bit more clarity of what you're looking at from the city, or basically the taxpayer. You're showing $29,000 to $31,000.
Yes, sir.
And you're asking of us to consider what?
$30,000. We have done a pro forma on the exhibit. I gave it to Cyril a couple days ago. I don't know whether he's passed it on to the city manager. I hope so. But that's essentially the ask.
Has there been any ask of people in the industry to support this?
Yes, we are doing that as well.
I can say that Phillips Collection has contributed in another arena to this, so we've put our money where our mouths are.
Well,
And there seems to be very good acceptance, but this is a specific neutral project going through the Hall of Fame rather than Phillips being the founding member in an aspect of furniture.
And just so that you know, what Mark is referring to is that Science in Design is building a certification program for retailers and for designers. We've done a series of Science in Design summits over the last 2 years, and the response from designers around the country is that they want to be certified in the Science in Design. And so that will be launched at October Market along with the Design, Art, and Science Symposium, and along with the launch of the exhibit. So all three things will be taking place and announced at the same time. It's going to be quite quite a celebration of science and design.
Well, with market fast approaching, this obviously has a time issue element with it. When do you, can't give you a motion today, unless someone on the council wants to make it, without doing a little bit more research for me. But when, I know sooner rather than later, but do you have a deadline?
We were hoping for a motion today, and the reason is that the construction will be starting. Our designer is well underway, and in terms of detailing, we've already spent $15,000 to $18,000 of design time in kind with this designer, the award-winning design firm out of Denver. And so, yes, we were hoping for a sign-off and an agreement, because the Karen McNeil at the Hall of Fame is also expecting this to be done in time. And so Jane and I were just actually talking about construction needs to start on September 25th, which means all the product needs to be procured, the detailed design finished, and signed off on.
Well, since this is a discussion, I mean, this isn't the first I've heard about this.
It is the first?
It is not.
Okay.
But it hadn't been, it's still very fresh since I've heard about it. Wasn't too long ago. And it wasn't, the finance piece was not presented this way to me. So I was not expecting for a full funded request. So I wasn't prepared for that discussion. Is there anybody that has had discussions? Because I mean, I understand this was a time issue, and and it spoke to others. But is there anyone that cares to make a recommendation? Or I see Councilman Hudson. Is there anybody else here that wants to speak on this?
Cyril called me and said that the ask was going to be 15 to 17,000. So that was what I was assuming you were about to ask us for.
And that could be my confusion, because, forgive me, but I've only been in North Carolina for 4 months, so I'm still learning some of the system and how it works. I have talked to Cyril about the $15,000 to $17,000, and I thought that I was supposed to be asking for the $30,000, but he did indicate that there was a possibility he could get some of it through private funds as well. We need $30,000 to do the exhibit.
I was told that the total budget was 27, the ask was 15 to 17. So if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
If you get 10,000, if you get 15,000, what are your likelihood you'll be able to raise the rest?
We're depending on, quite honestly, we're depending on private donations, and the likelihood is, from what I'm understanding from council members, that the likelihood is good that we will get that other 15,000.
Okay. Because I've been on council 6 years. I don't think I've ever had a nonprofit ask the city to fully fund an event. We contribute towards Stone here and there, but I don't think I've ever heard of a $30,000 budget and asking the city to cover all $30,000.
I understand.
That would be
I didn't know that. Okay.
taxpayer-funded event without you
Okay.
raising any money, and that's not going to, I can't support that. But I'll entertain some level of support on Monday when we have the full council here.
Now, I do have to add, I don't think this is for the full event, because there's lots of different parts to the total event. This is just the total amount for this one specific installation of the exhibit. So I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying too. I mean, in an effort to get this ball rolling and for you all to get your private donations done, I would be willing to make a motion to approve $15,000 towards
Thank you.
this.
I could support 15. My conversation was was the same, that the ask was going to be around 15 to 17,000. So that's what I was anticipating. So, Monica, I will second your motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, I think this should go up for council on Monday, and so, for discussion, so I'll be deny.
You want to make that in the form of substitute motion?
Sure, I'll make a substitute motion that we defer this until Monday's council meeting so that full council can discuss it.
The only thing I'll say before that is if you're feeling pushed for time, obviously, we meet every 2 weeks. But we can have a full discussion if this passes. One of them's going to pass on Monday, and then have time for the full council. I'm going to second Councilman Jones' motion. So I take a motion on the second one, right? A vote on the second one.
I think you're going to vote on the first one, and if that fails, vote on the substitute.
Okay?
Or, I'm sorry, yeah, other way around, yeah. Yeah, vote, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so there's a motion and a second on the floor that we move this to full council for consideration on Monday's meeting. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand.
No.
Okay. Any opposed? So that motion fails. So this first motion was a motion to approve 15,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was seconded by Councilman Holmes. So all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Just feel like that movement would need to, so am I correct, that motion fails? So we've got two failed. I just think this deserves with the speed with which this is moving, this deserves the attention of the full council. We have.
Go ahead.
So so we've got two motions that have failed. So if there could be a third motion that says, I mean, obviously, if they don't raise the other 15, they can't build the exhibit.
So this is.
I mean, so obviously it would be contingent on, so what if we say the motion as, support $15,000 towards this installation, contingent upon them being able to get the money from the private donors to build it? Would that be a motion?
I just don't see the rush. It's Thursday.
Well, because
Monday.
it's September 25th, we've got
That's
4
not
weeks.
our problem.
Yeah, but
This
you
is an
still have a
event.
decision.
We can't be rushed. This is a citizen's money. This is taxpayer money. So just because this is an urgent thing to them doesn't mean it's urgent to the other 15,000 people live here. So we're only talking 3 days, and I think it deserves the attention of the entire council.
So if I may, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Madam Attorney, was everyone here contacted by Councilman Jefferson in
Yeah.
that conversation? Was anyone not made aware of that what the expected ask was of $15,000? At that time, did anyone have any heartburn about that $15,000 ask?
And did y'all express it to the person that contacted you?
Talk to her about it.
I just want to be clear.
Where are you recommending the funds come from? To those of you that.
Well, one thing that I thought, and I don't know if, I mean, I had a couple conversations, but that it comes from ARPA and is funneled through Visit High Point.
Okay.
Okay, if we did that, there's a lot of nonprofits that have been requesting ARPA funds. We'd be saying that we're going to hook up another nonprofit and let them jump in line when we haven't gotten back to all these other nonprofits just because this seems to have a sense of urgency. That's got really bad optics.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I kind of felt that way too.
I
But
agree with
felt like
that. I mean, the ARPA requests, they were actual applications that put in for consideration, and we had a process for that, so I'm not in favor of violating that process. Seeing that that members of this committee expressed their heartburn about funding at all to Councilman Jefferson, I would be willing to change my vote to bring it to full council, because we're not going to leave, neither one of these votes are going to pass today. Neither one of these motions are going to pass. And so the only way we can get this considered at all is if it goes to full council, because if these votes fail, both of these, what's the next thing?
Well,
We
it's-
have to keep making motions to some of the.
Well, it's actually on your agenda just as an information item. So,
Yeah, we weren't expected to.
right, so the information item could go to full council. So if you wanted to just, perhaps try to get additional information between now and Monday, then you could push it forward to full council as an informational item as it is, and if somebody wishes to make a motion at the time, they could.
So, Madam Attorney, just a point of clarification. Even on the agenda for full council, it was just information.
Yeah.
So there was nothing, there was no planned consideration of making a motion to pass the funding?
I'm not certain of the background on it, but on the agenda, it's presented as review information. So certainly at any time, you can make a motion.
Right.
So this information item could go forward on Monday. If somebody wanted to make a motion to say that specifically you want the entire council to have an information item, with maybe a clarified ask from the presenter. I think, Judith, you don't have to vote and make a final decision today, because this is just the Finance Committee. All of council could hear it on Monday if that would allow additional time for information.
I want y'all to understand that nobody on this council, and we know each other a little bit, we all support, appreciate, and know the imperative necessity of the success of the High Point Furniture Market and everybody that participates in it. The question arises in the way it was presented. It was moving quick. It was just phone conversations. So my motion was just to put it to full council, because you're asking for a very quick decision, and we'll have questions that hadn't been or can't be answered that quick. And to Councilman Jones's point, there are normal processes and procedures in place. So we're trying to massage this and make it something positive that we can participate in, but at what level and which way. And there was just, not time to have that discussion. So we can certainly move it with the information. To your point, Councilman Holmes, if somebody's ready for a motion, and it may be able to be more clarified between now and then we can probably get some kind of definitive answer Monday, which will only be 3 or 4 days.
And Chairman, if I may, your other option is just to move it forward without any recommendation. It would just.
No action is still on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah, I want to get to.
It's the same, it's kind of.
I want to get to a yes and a way to figure out how to fund this.
I agree.
I don't want to circumvent our processes. Our typical process is that we reserve a third of a penny on the tax rate, which is around $400,000, and you apply as a nonprofit in February, and then we allocate those funds. We've set aside a little bit of those funds in case something like this were to pop up that didn't make the cut in February, because we're pretty fiscally conservative about that. But there's $8,401 left in that account. So that's the only thing that we can say that is set aside for nonprofit needs for between now and next budget year. So we could approve that fairly easily without a budget amendment, without having to go into ARPA dollars. So that may be an option we consider on Monday. But if we go outside of $8,401, it's going to be set a whole new precedent. And if it's ARPA dollars, I think it's going to be somewhat in a disrespectful tone to some other nonprofits that have been waiting. So I would just feel better and more transparent to the citizens if we wait. All 9 of us are here. Let's come up with some ideas and see what we can do to help fund your project.
Mr. Chairman, if I may make 2 points. Just for clarification, the next meeting, if it's not acted on next Monday, wouldn't be until
Correct.
September 18th, because we have a first meeting in September. Second point, as far as process, similar to our other outside organizations that we fund, what staff, and I'll defer to Madam Attorney, we would have a contract between the city and the organization that would spell out the use of the funds, and so we would have that protection. It would take a little bit of work to get a contract between us and the organization.
Well, my hope is that we will come to some form of a agreement and consensus by which we can begin this process, that you can have the exhibit, that it can be a success, and it can flow into the budget processes and the things that happen in the future. So at least give us until Monday night. Are you available to come back and present on Monday night?
Certainly, yes.
Okay. So can we leave that there, or do we need to, because on the agenda it just says for information. So there's no kind of motions or anything that this is,
You can move it forward without a recommendation and just
Okay,
leave
well, I'll
it.
make a motion that this item, which, hang on a minute.
2023, 319.
I'll make a motion that item 2023-399 be moved with no recommendation to full council Monday's meeting for review and discussion and possible action.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. I want to thank all of you for your time, and let's see what we can get worked out. All right? Thank you for being here. Anything else to come before finance? Okay, if there's not, then we are adjourned. Thank you.